According to the site Big Commerce, 92% of customers read online reviews before buying. That's great, but how do you prevent your clients' voices from being lost in the noise? I'm going to show you how right now. Welcome to Agents Growth Academy, folks. My name is Jim Schubert. I am your headmaster. I hope you're ready to grow big or go home. Folks, I do want to say, and I think this is probably the most appropriate episode to do this on, but I want to say thank you so much for the reviews that you have left me, especially on Apple Podcast. We're currently at 320 five-star reviews. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There are a lot of written reviews that actually have comments and text in them. What that does for the show is that it feeds the algorithm to help market this to other insurance agents and agency owners who want to learn what we have to teach here. For me, it gives me a wonderful encouragement, and it also helps me know what you're looking for, what you enjoy, so that I can create more of that great content. So thank you very much. What I'm going to ask you now, and you'll understand why I'm asking you this, is please go give me some honest feedback in the review on Apple Podcasts, what used to be called iTunes, right, for podcasts. And what I would love for you to do is tell me, what was your life like before you listened to a particular episode that really impacted you? And then what was life like after that, whether it's this episode or another one? And I really want you to focus on that. What was life like before, and what was it like after? What was it that you learned from one of our guests or from me that really impacted your career as an insurance agent? Thanks again for doing that. Apple Podcast is where I would really love those reviews. That's where the show is consumed probably 95% of the time. So thanks very much. So what's holding you back from getting good client testimonials in your agency? Well, I'm going to talk about the problems and then offer you some solutions. The problem is that most testimonials sound the same and they can get lost in the noise. And I think you know what I'm talking about. You've heard, testimonials that say, oh, they provide great service. They're really friendly. They have really fast turnaround. We've been using them for years. Well, that's not bad. That's not wrong. It's just not quite specific, and it doesn't tell a story. I want to give you a couple of real life examples from our own Google reviews. I'm going to be brave and read some of ours. Here's one that was really good, and this was a 5-star review. I worked directly with Gina for a mutual client's policy, and she was wonderful. Extremely helpful, quick to respond, and very kind. Greatly appreciated her assistance. Hey, that sounds great, right? Very positive. Let me read another one. This one's in bullet point format, which is kind of cool because it's very concise. I like that. Very knowledgeable of products. Understands clients' needs. Customer-oriented. Delightful customer service. Willing to go the extra mile. Hey, folks, none of this sounds bad. By the way, that was a 5-star review. None of this sounds bad, but what's it lacking? It's lacking context. In that last one, it didn't even say the agent's name, let alone our agency's name. We don't really have a story. We're not getting an example, and ultimately, we're not really seeing how that person was transformed by using our agency. Let me read you another one. This is one that does a little bit better. As full-time artists who own our mural business, it was difficult finding commercial insurance until we were referred to John. Several insurance companies we reached out to didn't offer the coverage we needed, or they weren't even familiar with this line of business. Not only did Southern States offer diverse products and coverage that others didn't offer, but they are super responsive, experienced, and they enjoy helping their customers. Customer service is important to John, and we can tell that. We will refer them to other artists or anyone else looking for great, professional, reliable experience. 5-star review gave a lot more context. Full-time artists who own their own mural business. We have context. We know what challenges at the outset before they even tell us, but they go on to tell us. They say it was difficult finding insurance for this line of business. And then the pivotal moment came when they said that we offer diverse products and coverages that others didn't. And on top of that, we were super responsive, experienced, and you heard the rest, right? So this is an example of a better, it's not perfect, but it's much better because it gives you some context and kind of tells a story. So the solutions to the problem of testimonials, client testimonials getting lost in the noise. Number one, prospects want to see how their lives can be transformed, right? Think about any great movie you've watched or book you've read, or even a product that you've interacted with that helped you transform some part of your life, right? I think of Star Wars all the time. I love the Star Wars series. I think about the originals with Luke Skywalker that I grew up with, and how was Luke transformed? He was transformed from being kind of this little, kind of a whiny, young kid that wanted to do these big things but didn't feel like he had it in him, and then he was shown a guide. Right? This is important. He was shown a guide in Obi-Wan, in Yoda, right? And they helped transform him. They taught him what he needed to change in his life to have more confidence in himself and to ultimately go after trying to defeat the dark side, right? So you take that to a real life example. We had a client not too long ago who called us in their darkest moment. They had just lost their, it was actually the client's son, because the client was the son's mother, and then her mother also perished in a fire, unfortunately, in their home. So the client's son called us and was looking for help, trying to figure out what next steps to take. That's pretty deep. That's pretty heavy, but we did it. And we handled it really well. The agent, as a matter of fact, really handled it well. And there were some really nice things said about that. But the problem that the client was having, obviously, or the client's son, was they were in the worst crisis of their lives. And they just needed some direction and hand-holding on the process of what otherwise for us seems like, as agents, pretty straightforward. The house burned. We got to figure out, the claims folks are going to take care of that, but assuming that it is, and it did, it was taken care of very well. But then at the end of it, they didn't have to worry about what was going to happen from an insurance perspective, because we really held their hand through the whole process, and they could focus on grieving and on, getting funeral preparations made and all these things. Right. So there's a transformation that happens. And that's really important to see. People want their lives transformed. They also want to hear stories. They want to hear examples. And one thing that I am passionate about is storytelling. And I want to direct you actually to something that I put together that can help you with the framework, a little bit of the framework that I'm going to show you here. This is just a sneak peek in this video, but if you go download a cheat sheet and kind of a worksheet and a framework that I put together for you, you get even deeper into this. agentsgrowthacademy.com/stories. And you'll learn the secret formula for telling a really impactful story. And you can use this to even draw out of your clients what stories you want them to tell about you and your agency. Right. And there's a framework. There's actually a worksheet that you can work through this on agentsgrowthacademy.com/stories. So we want to hear more stories like the other example of the testimonial that I read before. We also want our clients, and I think you see this, we want them to be specific, right? You heard the first set of testimonials that I read weren't really specific. Sure, it was flowery and it sounded great and it was pumping us up, but it wasn't specific. I think about, like, I'm the worst when it comes to when my wife says, "Hey, will you go to the grocery store and get me?" I'm like, "Oh no," because I need specifics. And she's learned that over the years, but it used to be she'd say, "Hey, can you go to the store and pick up some turkey?" Okay, well, that's great. Like, do you want an entire turkey? Do you want sliced turkey breasts? Do you want ground turkey? Like, what do you want, right? Be specific. So she's learned to do that with me. She knows, okay, if I'm sending Jim to get anything, I've got to be super specific, even down to like if it's yogurt, like non-fat. This is what color the yogurt container is. This is the brand, everything. So oftentimes now she'll just snap a picture on her phone and text it to me. It's like, okay, thank you. That is specific. But it's when we're not specific or when our clients aren't specific that really their comments about us, their feedback about us gets lost, right? So we want them to be specific. So here's the solution for this. You ready? We need to start giving our clients a framework for leaving us impactful testimonials, more like the one you heard, maybe even more impactful than that. And here's some of the secret sauce, and I alluded to this before. We want them to let us know what life was like before they started working with us or before they had a particular problem that we solved for them. We want them to tell us or tell the audience how they felt, because we connect with human feelings. We also want them to describe that pivotal moment, right? What was it that we did for them to solve the problem? And then we want them to say what life is like now. I'm not sure that that one that I read had all those characteristics. It certainly had what life was like before and the pivotal moment, and a little bit of what life is like now. But we want them to show other prospective clients who are reading or listening, or, and I'll talk about this in a second, watching their testimonials and getting drawn in just like a story, which is why I directed you to that download, because stories are some of the most impactful, in my opinion, it is the most impactful form of communication. We remember stories more than we remember facts. So if they can give us that, hey, this is what life was like before, this is the pivotal moment, this is what life is like now, then the people reading it start to see themselves in the client's testimonial. And they said, well, gosh, if they had that kind of transformation, I know I could. They just told me and they gave me some specifics. We also want them to use employee names. So let's be specific about that when we're asking them. Maybe locations, like us, we have different locations for our agency. So just think that through. And there's different ways that you can do that, whether you're talking them through that over the phone, whether you, or you even say, hey, I'm going to send you a quick email, but if you wouldn't mind, go leave us a testimonial. That's really how we get the best, or you can call it client review. That's how we get the most referral business, is through client reviews. And then when you send them that email, give them just a bullet point framework. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, tell me what life was like before. What were you feeling? What was the pivotal moment for the problem that we solved for you? And what's life like now? Maybe it's that you freed up a bunch of their time because you shopped insurance carriers, 4 or 5 of them, that they wouldn't have had the time to do that. And it allowed them to go get their kids' school uniforms and finish up, all the errands that they had to do that day, or pick up groceries, whatever it was. And they didn't have to worry about carving out 3 hours of their time to contact different insurance companies, right? So what's life like after they were working with you? Now, the last point I'm going to tell you is something that we're just starting to crack into now, just starting to do ourselves. So I can't speak totally intelligently about this, except that I've seen other people do this, and I'm interested in it. I'm very interested in doing this in our agency, and that is using video testimonials. Now, I know the first thing you're thinking is, Jim, there's no way our clients are going to get on camera and leave video testimonials. I beg to differ. I've seen people do it. There's companies out there that do this. I'm not going to, tell you which one to use. One that I've seen that we're considering is called Boast. I think it's boast.io. Makes it super easy for you to have a landing page where they're going to record themselves, whether it's on their computer or on their phone. And you can even have that bullet point framework right there. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, just in 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes, let us know the following. What was life like before? What was the pivotal moment? What's life like after? What were you feeling? All that stuff, right? And so that gives them kind of a prompt. Think about it. If you've ever taken a test where there was an essay, the teacher gives you a prompt for what you're supposed to write. Most cases, right? They're not just saying, hey, write an essay. About what, right? They're going to give you a prompt. So we need to prompt our clients the same way. But with video, doing those prompts can make it a little bit less nerve-wracking. I think also what we're probably going to end up doing is maybe even using some incentives like, Starbucks gift card or like a gift card of their choice, whatever that is, for them going the extra mile. But you can use those video testimonials not only on your website, but then in your email marketing campaigns or, the drip campaigns that you're trying to warm up prospective clients, send them to a couple of those video testimonials. That's powerful when people see that there's actual real people, not just some little, avatar picture of that person, which is good, but it's not quite as impactful as a video. And you can also use this on YouTube or LinkedIn, right? Or Facebook or wherever you are on social media with your agency. You can use that and it can be very, very impactful. So again, something that we're about to start implementing soon. Very excited. I'll be back with you to let you know how that's going. Maybe make a whole video about that. But that's it, folks. What's holding you back from getting video testimonials is that we're not being specific. We're allowing our clients to kind of do their own thing, which is okay, but it's hit or miss. As you heard before when I read the testimonials, definitely hit or miss. Let's give them that framework. Let's let them know what we're looking for specifically. Instead of saying, hey, go buy turkey, say, go buy some ground turkey, or maybe like go buy the oven roasted honey, whatever, sliced turkey from Boar's Head, right? That's very specific instead of go buy turkey, right? So let's do that for our clients. Folks, if this was helpful for you, I would really appreciate it. Again, if you would leave a review and let me know how this episode transformed you. Maybe if you tried it out, what worked. And if you want to start a conversation with me, first of all, do that review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this or watching it. Love to start conversations on LinkedIn, so please connect with me there. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do that on YouTube. But folks, until next time, grow big or go home.